Okay, selling the product. Selling the product. Boom. So, first, look at sales techniques, the different sales techniques. Focus on customer focus, competitor focus, product focus techniques, and also how they affect the buyer-seller relationship. Let's get some music in here. There you go. Maybe a little bit too loud, I don't know. Okay. So, where is it? Yes. Then, interpersonal influence techniques, focusing on the disrupt then reframe, including the need for cognitive closure and factors affecting the need for cognitive closure. We won't look at the study because it's not a key study, and then we'll look at Cialdini's 6 ways to close a sale. Alrighty. Let's do it. We actually have one of these. Very nice. So, let's get this bad boy. Alrighty. So, oh. There you go. So, customer focused techniques. Customer focused. Customer is viewed as a unique problem to be solved. The salesperson has to be creative. He must think through all the options, make attempts to offer the best solution, and be kind of like a consultant, an expert. So he asks questions to the client, clarifies the client's understanding, discovers their individual needs, and uses active listening techniques to try and make sure the customer feels heard and make sure that they understand everything about the customer's problem so that they can solve it as like well as possible. And this creates a very strong buyer-seller relationship development. Research suggests positive correlations with repeat trade, cooperation, trust, and lack of conflict. That's very nice. All right. So what do we see here? Customers problem will be solved. Well, actually, let's do it like this. I'll just create these little points and we'll sum it up at the end, and I'll try to rattle it all off the top of my head. So, next, competitor focused. Competitor focused. So, the customer views the problem as the customer is viewed as a problem similar to recent buyers. So the salesman asks less questions but offers a range of different solutions and compares the customer with previous buyers and offers previously successful solutions. They compare with rival products and list points why their product is better than rival products. This is also their unique selling point. They'll put that in there. And they distill the info into a summary to avoid overwhelming the client and allow the client to make an informed decision. In terms of the buyer-seller relationship, it's a zero-sum situation where failure to share info results in decreased customer satisfaction. And there's this kind of competitive nature, and this competitive nature reduces the relationship development. So then we move on to the next one. Product focused. Oh, slap chop. Let's write that down. Product focused. So, customer is viewed as a problem already solved by their product. The salesman convinces the customer that they need the product. Very few questions asked, as that might reveal reasons why the customer shouldn't buy it. They do almost all the talking. They minimize comparisons, and they They use demonstrations of their product. They focus on how their product will be used and how it'll fit into the buyer's life. The buyer-seller relationship has high and low authority customers equally responsive, and this demonstration of working knowledge from the seller will improve the relationship. It engenders trust and positive and makes the relationship more positive and durable. Then We look to types of industrial. Actually, you know, let's do this now. Okay, so customer focused. The idea behind customer focused is that the customer is a problem to be solved through questioning, discussing, and I'm not even looking at this right now, by the way. It's all at the top of my head. And listening. Now I'm looking. Just see if I missed anything. Yeah. Yeah, I didn't miss anything. Okay. The buyer-seller relationship is strong. Strong buyer-seller relationship. It's good. Nice. Very simple. Okay. Move on to the next one. Competitor focused. So competitor focused. The customer is a problem. Wait, let me think. Product focused was customer is a problem which is already solved by the existing product. Competitor focus, customer is a problem. I don't remember actually. Is a problem similar to other / previous buyers. Compare. So it's lots of comparison offers range of solutions. Okay, yeah. That's questions. More comparisons of buyer to more let's just say more comparisons, and then we'll do a tab. Compare buyer and previous buyers whose probs were solved, right? Buyer and previous buyers whose probs were solved. Compare. Let's move away from this. I don't want to look at it. Compare. What else did I compare? Compare fraud and rival fraud in a good light, obviously. Yeah, that's basically it. Summarize info. Weaker relationship. Competitive nature. What was the reason again? Competitive nature, yeah, reduces development. I'm not sure about the zero sum thing, actually. Scenario where one participant's gain directly corresponds to another person where the net gain or loss of 0 for the group as a whole. Zero sum. How is this zero sum? I don't see how this is zero sum. That shit makes no sense, but yeah, is what it is. Competitive, yeah, but because of the competitive nature of it, it doesn't really foster a good thing. Say reduced development. Okay. Now we go on to product focused. Customer has a problem which is already solved by the existing product. No questions. All talk. demonstrations. What else was there? Less comparisons. Let's just go back to check. Yeah. Focus on why fraud is perfect for buyer. Strong relationship. High and low authority. Respond same. And demonstration of knowledge improves relationship. Nice, easy peasy. Yeah, here's this table. You don't really have to know about it. It's whatever. Evaluating research. Okay, we have to go through this a little bit. So eval of this is that strength. Strength is the focus on, or let's just go through it first. No, that's fine, it's fine. We'll just do this. Focus on buyer responsiveness rather than self-report data from salesmen. Reduced by narrow sample demographic. 85% male, 42 to 44 years old, all very experienced in sales. Reduced generalizability to female / younger / less experienced. Makes sense, right? And these weaknesses are proven, but it's whatever, you don't have to know that. Okay. Move on to issues and debates. Ideographic versus nomothetic. It's a strength. There's two here. Ideo versus nomo. It's a strength. Nomo approach. Statistical analysis allows for generalizations around the efficacy of these methods. Ethical generalizations. Cultural diffs, always a fucking weakness. Doesn't account for cultural diffs. Affects perception of sales differently depending on the culture. Very easy. Nice. Where are we now? So we did that. Interpersonal influence techniques. Of course, of course. So, interpersonal influence techniques. Let's look at those. So, interpersonal influence. That's techniques. So, interpersonal influence is the change in an individual's behavior or beliefs which result from social influence or interaction with others. Change in behavior or belief resulting from social influence of others. From others. Okay. A little bit too big, actually. I want this to be a little bit smaller. It's better. Okay. So, some examples of this would be conformity, obedience, bystander apathy, good Samaritanism. But what we're looking at now is compliance. So, following an order or request is compliance, right? But unlike obedience, so we'll write compliance. Unlike obedience, unlike obedience, the person giving said orders does not have a form of authority. So an example of the technique used to make people comply would be the foot in the door technique or the door in the face. And the disrupt then reframe, which is what we're going to talk about, is this one, disrupt then reframe. An order without the order coming from an authority figure. Very nice. Next slide. Disrupt and reframe. So, ETR. Disrupt. Then reframe. So the idea is make confusing statements. Resolve confusing statements when making requests. Stops. Found that this increases sales. Possible explanation for why this works. Cardes, the desire for a firm answer. Yeah, so it promotes the need for cognitive closure. So you need to know specifically about cognitive closure, yeah. So cognitive closure, it's the desire for a firm answer, aversion to ambiguity. NF, yeah, need for cognitive closure. Need for cognitive closure, which is an FCC. An FCC varies between individuals. BTR more effective on high NFCC people. Nice. And then card et al. We don't give a fuck. And we're done. Let's go. Good job, guys. Okay, so let's review over this. So customer focused. 1 hour, 1 o'clock. Yeah, okay. So customer focused techniques. Customer is a problem to be solved through questioning, discussing, and listening. Active listening, discussing with the person, asking lots of questions, figuring out what their individual needs are, to figure out what, how to fix their problem the best, what, product to give them to fix their problem the best, right? That's the sales technique. And this fosters a strong buyer-seller relationship for obvious reasons. Then we have competitive focus. The customer is a problem similar to other/previous buyers and can be solved in the same way. So they ask less questions, make more comparisons. They compare the buyer to previous buyers whose problems were solved, and how the buyer is similar to them and how their problem can be solved in the same way using their product. They compare their product and a rival product in a good light, of course, saying why their product is better than rival products, why they should buy their product instead of rival products. And then they summarize all the info as to not overwhelm the person with all the information. However, this fosters a weaker relationship. The competitive nature of all this reduces the development of the buyer-seller relationship. Then finally, you have product-focused. The customer is a problem which is already solved by the existing product which they have. This is basically like infomercial stuff. Slap Chop, Vince, fucking ShamWow, Scrub Daddy, Flex Tape, all that shit. So, no questions, all talk. They use lots of demonstrations, way less comparisons, and focus on why the product is perfect for the buyer. This actually fosters a strong relationship because the, first of all, because the demonstration of knowledge that the kind of infomercial salesman person will do really improves the relationships, makes them trust. It engenders trust in the buyer, makes them think that the person knows what they're talking about. And also, high and low authority buyers respond the exact same to this, to product focused. Let's evaluate them. So this was all research done by this random one French guy, Vecchianati, or whatever his name was. So one strength is that they focused on buyer responsiveness rather than self-report data from salesmen, and this really reduces the bias because people found that salesmen will normally basically oversell themselves, say that they sell stuff better when they don't. So focusing on buyer responsiveness removes that bias. But one neat weakness is that there was a very, very, very narrow sample demographic, 85% male, all 42 to 44 years old, and all very experienced in sales. And so this reduces the generalizability of these findings on product-focused, competitor-focused, customer-focused techniques. Reduces the generalizability of those findings to female workers, younger workers, less experienced workers, any of these sort of salespeople. It's harder to generalize that. Then issues and debates. Idio versus nomo, so idiopathic versus nomothetic, right? Idiographic versus nomothetic. Strength. This is a strength of the nomothetic approach, is that they use statistical analysis and made generalizations on the efficacy of those things. But cultural differences, very weak. Doesn't account at all for cultural differences, and of course, the perception of sales, of different types of sales, is different depending on the on the culture that you're from. For example, Japanese people might not like customer focused because too much questions, you're asking too many questions. They'd rather just have all the info presented to them with competitor focused or product focused sort of thing, right? Something like that. It doesn't have to be that. And then we go on to interpersonal influence real quick. So interpersonal influence is the change in behavior or belief resulting from social influence from others. Example of this is compliance, which is what we'll be looking at specifically. And compliance is following an order, even without the order coming from an authority figure. So an example of techniques that kind of take advantage of compliance and Yeah, a type of compliance actually is DTR, so disrupt then reframe technique. Takes advantage of this by making a confusing statement and then resolving that confusing statement while making the request, and then stonks. And this is found. It's been found that this technique increases fails. So this takes advantage of NFCC, which is need for cognitive closure. The need for cognitive closure is like the human's natural desire for a firm answer and aversion to ambiguity or ambiguous situations. um, and of course, NFCC varies between individuals, and DTR is found to be more effective on people with high NFCC. With a high NFCC. Nice, beautiful. Thank you for listening. Bye bye.